are live, but we are also on tape. We are deep down in the bowels. That's Chris Foulds, Magic Mike, Greg, Bill, Greg at the controls today. Engineer Greg. Normally Mike is kind of running the show back there, but your debut, how are you feeling? Is your mic? Are you gonna be on the mic with us too? It's a tough start to put him under pressure with the mic here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
I'm a bit nervous.
Mike's looking like a stage mother at a dance recital. He's always doing these from the side here.
Greg, you were at the game last night. Blazers, your thoughts?
Very sad.
Very sad. Sad night for Kamloops, but not sad to have you back. How was your vacation?
I'm still on vacation. That's me. I'm working 24/7. I'm off today, but I came down here and left the dog at home so I could do the show with you because I saw Michael Potestio last week. He scratched the TV, insulted the Italians, so I'm here to save the day.
We have a great show today. Norm Daley coming on. Lots with him. NorthPaws.
Yep.
Unfortunate last night they were rained out for their big debut.
They were rained out last night. We had Michael Potestio go and cover it. We were going to do a color story on less about the result because that's everyone would know that, just about just the festivities. And he said there was a lot of people there, even while it was raining. People were showing up. They were lining up to buy merchandise, to buy food and drink. Really good atmosphere. He talked to a few people there. They just couldn't wait to see baseball. And they were hoping there would be a game. There was a 50-minute delay, and then they finally said no. I was at home, and I thought, there's no way they're going to play this game because it was just a monsoon out there all day. Norm
Daley also heavily involved in getting the Memorial Cup here at Kamloops, so we'll ask him about that. And Donnie Moores as well, because him and Donnie Moores were tight, and Donnie Moores we lost, and he would have been loving this time.
Yep.
Minimum wage. Interesting. I was going to ask you. So it's up to $15.64.
Yeah. See, when the NDP was elected in was it 17, 13, 17? They promised to one of the promises was to bring the minimum wage up to at least $15, like many other jurisdictions have. Raise it from whatever it was. I think it was 10 something or 9 something, all the way to $15. And then this year is the first year where the minimum wage, every June 1st thereafter, it's tied to inflation. Of course, inflation's going up. But I think it's based on the last year, so it was 1 point something this year percent. So yes, it went up today. It goes up June 1st today. It goes up, and then next year it'll go up by whatever the cost of living increases.
I just redid my mortgage and did a variable rate, so that's probably dumb.
Yeah, you want to probably get out of there because today, June 1st as well, the Bank of Canada just minutes ago raised the rates again by 0.5%.
Matty Dunstone warned me that was going to happen. Yeah, my guy Matt Dunstone was going to save me a lot of money. A lot of faith in Matt Dunstone right now.
Well, he's making a lot of money to pay for his curling trips from you. It's 1.5% now. They figure it'll be up to maybe 2.5%, 3% by the end of the year because this is the third increase this year, which is 3 more than they've done in 3 years.
But I did all this stuff where I brought my car debt, piled it in there, consolidated my debt.
And again, I have 2 lines of credit that I owe a lot of money on, and every time the half interest rate goes up, I get a little bit of heart attack but it doesn't add to a lot unless you have a lot of debt. We are now where we were before the pandemic. So we were at this, if you could pay your bills before the pandemic, that's the rate now. So it's not too bad right now.
This conversation went way different than I thought. I was going to ask you about your first job and how much you got paid.
$3.65 an hour at the Copper Kettle as a busboy in Abbotsford.
The Copper Kettle?
Yes, it was a buffet, mostly seniors there. That's the reason I can no longer look or taste or smell blue cheese dressing, because I was the dishwasher and the busboy, and I had to wash all the stuff, and some of the stuff they had, it was a massive buffet, so they had these big, those metal mixers. They're like huge. You could barely lift them. Yeah. And they made the dressings in them, and I had to wash them out after the hot water.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have blue cheese dressing with hot water, you almost vomit. It's so gross, so I can't even eat blue cheese dressing anymore.
We have some similarities there. My first job was $6.50 working in the Earl's dish pit, dealing with the blue cheese and the feta, and they put you on portions, and you dig your hands into the feta. Mike's taking Mike's not even listening again. I know. He's taking pictures of the team. Greg's distracted on his opening day here.
Yeah.
Blue cheese.
No. So that's
just rattle off keywords, okay?
Interest rates.
Interest rates.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, we're running along here already, but I wanted to talk about the winery. It's kind of cool. Kamloops Lake, Tranquil area.
Peller Estates is they came out and they're surveying it, and they're thinking if all things go well, they might have the vines in the ground in 2 years, and they might have wine ready to go with 4 or 5 years. That's part of the long talked about, never realized development of Tranquil, the old sanatorium, the old psychological institute, mental health institute, and of course it's got rumors of being haunted. TB patients were there. So it's a big deal. But there are people, because of reconciliation and everything, there are people out there on social media who and elsewhere who have said, before this goes ahead, they really should talk to the local First Nations bands to see if it aligns with what they want, because we are on unceded territory still, and maybe the development can incorporate or have some of their involvement. There's also people there's wetlands out there, protected wetlands, and naturalists in town who are concerned about what development will do to nature out there. But you're right, the actual thing to be developed, very interesting if we get a vineyard there.
Just an idea, they might need some grapes too.
That's right.
Maybe that's a business opportunity for Herman Hothi.
That's right.
I know if they need strawberries, mid-June, get down to New Leaf Produce Market, because, and this is, we go the extra mile on this show, okay? We made a song from scratch, which I can't wait for Mike to see and give us his review. And it's all about the relationship between Hermels and Neufeld, your boy in Abbotsford.
That's right.
They grow the best berries. The best berries. It's one of the only good things Abbotsford does. One of the only good things to come out of Abbotsford is the berries. And we have this commercial. It's a homemade track and a homemade commercial right here.
New Leaf Produce Market. Straw. Berries. Herman and Steve, they're best buddies. They're in cahoots with the strawberries. Neufeld makes them down in Abbey, and New Leaf takes them back to Gammy. Herman and Steve, they're best buddies. They're in cahoots with the strawberries. Neufeld makes them down in Abbey, and New Leaf takes them back to Gammy.
Folder dash?
Folder dash.
Folder dash? Folder dash?
I woke up, and this is the most underprepared I've ever been for the show. I just threw it together, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to have a good folder dash word. Go onto Twitter, first thing, there it is. So this segment, what we do, we combine your love of the English language with your tendency to blow up on social media. It's brought to you by Gord's Appliance and Mattress Center. This is Steve Gordon, or Gord Stevens. We haven't figured out his name yet.
Like Steve Gordon.
Steve Gordon. Anyway, this segment's brought to you by Gord's. And today, so you ran hot here. Dustin Johnson, PGA Tour.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Okay, just innocent, right? Gotta love it when you can flight your ball through the wind. He says he's shilling for TaylorMade. It's a sponsorship thing,
I see that, yeah.
Here comes Fouldsy. Gotta love it that you can take money from a regime that chopped up a journalist for speaking out against the atrocities of said regime. If you can sleep at night, you might not be human. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The Saudi Arabian government is a nasty, basically a terrorist government. It has no regard for human rights. Look what it's doing in Yemen. It only recently allowed its women to drive, and even then I think that's a sham. It's a horrible regime. Obviously killed the Washington Post journalist. I'm not saying Saudi Arabians are bad, I'm saying the government is bad, that the kingdom is bad, very bad. No regard for human rights, brutal regime. And you have a bunch of professional golfers who value money over anything, and they'll take blood money.
Was Dustin involved in that?
He just signed yesterday.
He did,
He's saying he won't go to this new tour. It's a competing tour against the PGA run by the government of Saudi Arabia. I think it's called the LV1 or something. The first tournament's coming up in England. And the PGA has said if anyone joins that tour, you're not going to be on the PGA anymore. And Phil Mickelson was the first to say, I'm going to go on it. And then Alan Shipmuck is writing a biography of Phil Mickelson, the golfer. And the quote that Phil said was, geez, these guys chop up a journalist, they kill a reporter. I know that, but it's a good opportunity. Greg Norman's behind it too, another bastard, right? And then also, a golfer was on the list who frequents Kamloops a lot, Louis Oosthuizen.
Oh, Louis Oosthuizen.
He's on the list of participants in the first tournament.
Maybe let's not obscure him yet.
But what I think people should straight up ask him, say, how do you justify? And it's money, right? I think they're getting $4 million appearance fees. Or at least Dustin
it's all money, yeah.
So he should ask the question, and this is Wayne Gretzky's son-in-law. Ask the question. how do you justify taking money and paying for an organizer that is a known murderer? They murder people, they kill people, they don't care about human rights. How do you justify it? Of course, Greg Norman, when he was asked that question, says, well, that's in the past, we want to look forward. We want to look forward. Well,
That's the shark, baby. He's always looking ahead.
the Yemenis can't look forward, the journalists can't look forward.
Can sharks go in reverse? They can go backwards?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, it just really, really, really pisses me off that they can't see. Not only is it PR nightmare, but it just shows the greed, the avarice, and the gluttony of life. It's just, how much money does he need? He's already set for life, and he wants more money at the cost. Basically, he's funding deaths. I guess you get the money, you get to live in Malibu. It's complete bullshit, and he should be called out on it. And a lot of people are.
I'm still not sure how you fall on this issue, so we'll have to maybe revisit it again next week. But I think that's good for now. Let's go to your segment, Above the Folds. Decriminalization of drugs in British Columbia.
Yes. So I'm off this week, so I just came across this. The first time I heard about this was actually logging on to the Camloops.com website, and I think Jessica and Sean and Michael, they were on top of it, and they posted the story, and then of course it's been everywhere. Basically, the nutshell is finally the federal government has agreed to do a pilot project to decriminalize simple possession of hard drugs, heroin, meth, fentanyl, cocaine. So the drugs themselves remain illegal, and the sale of them remains illegal, and importation, all that stuff remains illegal. But if you're a guy walking down the street or a person walking down the street and you have 2.5 grams or less on you, you're not going to get busted for it.
Right. So this is designed in part to fight the overdose crisis, right?
Yeah, it's one of many steps needed. Of course, the critics say you need way more than this step. So
Yeah.
the reason decriminalization is one of the steps needed, people say, is because it reduces the stigma and it reduces the fear of arrest. And theoretically, it might take a person who has it, if they say, I need help, I got these drugs, I'm using drugs, it might convince them to go and seek help. Whereas while it's illegal and the risk of arrest is there, they might not go and seek help. I'm not sure about that rationale.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, how does this?
No, because I don't think that this alone will do nothing, because the 2.5 grams of drugs that a person has now that's killing them, it's tainted, it's illegal, it's still going to be tainted and kill them if it's legal on January 31st of next year.
Right.
So unless they go to a safe supply, this doesn't do anything, and that may come. So the call from the advocates is safe supply is number one. That means if you have addiction issues and you need drugs, you're going to go on the street, you're going to buy drugs, chances are it could be tainted, and you become one of the 6 every day who die of an overdose. Unless you have a safe supply, legalizing this, all you're doing is legalizing drugs that kill already. So the drugs that kill now are illegal to use, but the drugs that kill will be legal to use next year.
Maybe
so you
it's like a
something-
stepping stone plan where this is like the first thing, and they all know that. And
I think they know that, and hopefully it'll come. Decriminalization on this scale has happened in Portugal, Uruguay, Mexico, the state of Oregon, and a few other places. But a lot of those places carry with it. In Portugal, for example, is mandatory treatment if you're caught, if your drug use is attached to your criminal activity. We don't have that in Canada, in BC. Sheila Malcolmson, the minister, says, but that's not part of it. I know the civil libertarians will say you can't force someone into treatment. I disagree. I think if you are creating havoc and you're creating a lot of crime to feed your habit, you should be forced into treatment.
Yeah.
It helps you. It's no help to you to not force you into treatment.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a very, very sensitive thing to say. People will say that's bullshit. Well, then what's the alternative? Let 6 people die every day on the street?
Yeah. So these numbers, I was almost wondering if they were wrong. Like in Kamloops through March, 25 deaths in Kamloops alone through March.
Yeah.
25.
We're on
548 in BC. That seems nuts just through March.
We're on pace this year to break the record number of deaths in Kamloops and in BC. Both records were set last year. We're on pace this year to do it. There's been 9,400 plus deaths since 2016, since April, when the then BC Liberal government declared a state of emergency, health emergency. You need safe supply, you need treatment beds, and I think you need a heavier hand to say, look, you need to go into treatment. It's no longer a choice for some people.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that, because you're saving their lives.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I'm with you.
You know?
I think I agree with you there.
certain cases.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's a lot of business owners who like the sound of that too. I mean, I'm not saying Mike feels that way, but
It's
his business who keeps on getting pilfered.
It's a domino
if that can
effect.
help and that saves lives. Maybe that's. But then the other side is you can't force anybody. That's not.
Well, then what do you do? Then I want to ask them, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, anybody in the throes of addiction, God knows I grew up saturated in addiction in my family, knows that you can't leave it up to an addict to choose their path. You can't do it. And I know better than most, so no.
Okay, let's move on. Tattle Hastings. Engineer Greg, rolling pretty smooth so far. Your thoughts, a bit more thoughts on the Blazers last night. What went wrong for Kamloops last night?
It was a lot of the losing the puck battles, and they could barely get it across the red line. And by the last 10 minutes, I was basically just praying to score a goal.
Yeah, I think Game 5, the Blazers won one of the greatest games in franchise history. I could argue that Seattle probably deserved to win that game.
Big, strong team, eh?
They won Game 6 last night. I think they were probably deserving of the win. It was very close. I mean, bounces here. The Blazers are talking about bounces, and I don't think bounces are the difference, but there was 2 or 3 times where the puck could have gone in. You know, a lob in the crease, and it's just dancing around. Milic was good. Seattle was, they're a little bit bigger. It's a team game. You don't heap blame on anyone. I'm not heaping blame on these guys, but Seattle did a great job shutting down the Blazers' top line.
The top line, yeah, and they're an older team as well, aren't they?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Their core players are a little bit older.
Many
They're a little bit
whom-
more mature.
Many of whom were injured during the season.
They were, and they came back.
Yeah.
Last night's interesting. After the game, as you'd expect, you go down to the dressing rooms, you talk to players, and after a devastating loss or a huge win like this, people are emotional either way. Seattle, they're listening to their dressing room, and it's their coach saying, "You guys just won't die," and everyone's pumped up, and sticks are falling down, and it's literally shaking. That's 5 elimination games they've survived.
3-1 to Portland, and they went into Portland and won. They were down 3-2 and they won the last 2. It's pretty impressive.
First time in league history that a team has won 2 Game 7s on the road in one playoff.
It's impressive. You got to cheer for them now going forward.
Yeah. And then you go to the other side, and it's complete dejection. Logan Stankoven was basically in tears when we talked. Sean Clouston, he's always methodical. He was a bit surly last night. Don't think he liked one of my questions about physicality, and I understand it. It's like
it's raw. It's
I
in the
probably
moment.
phrased it a little bit
Raw.
direct.
Yeah.
That fair enough. But Logan, I thought it was really neat. So I'll play this interview. He's emotional. He's emotional, and right after this interview, he's going to the room, and there's this lady who's there waiting for an autograph, right? Mm-hmm. And you could tell he didn't. He'd rather not do it right now. Like he's trying to not bawl his eyes out, and he just goes over there and takes the picture. I thought that was really
classy.
A classy thing to do.
Mature thing to do for a kid like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I took a picture of that, and we'll hear Logan's clip over top of it.
I think it's just super disappointing. I mean, you put a lot of hard work into the season, and you build that special bond with your teammates throughout the year. And I mean, to lose the last 2 games, being up 3-2 in the series, and to lose the last 2 games, it's disappointing for sure. Especially for myself, wasn't able to contribute the way that I wanted to. So, I mean, it just at loss for words right now, because I thought we had the group that could have done something special this year. Seattle did a really good job of keeping us to the outside, and it was hard to kind of get second chances on their goaltender, and we kind of tried to throw everything we could at them in that third period, just kind of leave it all out there, and in the end, it was just too big of a hill to climb. So yeah, it is what it is. You know what, things went wrong, and for us next year being able to host the Memorial Cup, it's going to be huge, and we don't want to just be the team that gets to host it. We want to make sure that we win our way all the way to the Memorial Cup and show everybody that we have a really good team and we deserve to be there.
Memorial Cup coming here.
Yes.
Your thoughts on that?
It's a big scoop for Kamloops for sure. And like Michael Potestio, I thought Kelowna would get it because it really is their right to have it, because they got their bid wiped out by the pandemic. But I think even at that time, though, Tom Ghilardi told you, the co-owner of the Blazers, that they had a better bid. They should have had it. And it was I think the 25-year anniversary. It was all sorts of neat things that they didn't get. So maybe this was the justification after it all came through. So it's a really interesting.
Tom's truculence kind of paid off this time. Like he's one of the more aggressive, outspoken owners in the league.
Yeah, and he's good. I like that because it's refreshing, right? He doesn't use all the buzzwords in the corporate language. But I truly hope the Blazers get there. Honestly, I hope they win the WHL, because if they get knocked out in the first or second round, and then they win the cup, sorry, but it's an asterisk to me. Just like it was
on Matty Dunstone.
It is. But it's great. But I hope they don't say, well, we're going to be there anyway, and they're not going to. But I just...
Did you read my story last night?
No, I go to bed early. I'm getting old.
Yeah. Please. Well,
I did. Thunderstorms and rain and all. I read it. I'm just kidding.
No, but Logan talked about that at the end of the story. He said, we want to win the league title.
Of course they do. Everyone wants to. I'm just saying, if it happens that they don't, it doesn't diminish anything really, because they're trying their best. It's just, if you can't win your league and then you win the World Cup, to me, just...
Let's leave it on a positive note for Greg here and the rest of Blazer Nation.
Oh, having said that, I just it would be, the coolest thing would be that for Kamloops to if not win, to have Kelowna win it, to come in, and that would be really.
Oh boy,
wouldn't that
here
be something?
We go.
Wouldn't that be something? Kelowna, Kamloops, and then the OHL and the Q in Kamloops for the World Cup. That would be the ultimate if they can't win the league.
I was going to say, and I said this on the radio on CBC the other day. Right now, there's a big dust up in Kelowna. Everyone's pointing fingers at GSL Holdings.
Yes, for the arena.
The Rockets and the city of Kelowna are saying, you guys wouldn't pony up, so our bid wouldn't go through. And I was saying, that's the sound of 90,000 Kamloopsians just playing their violin.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so no one's feeling sorry for Kelowna out here, especially not, actually, before I get to the Norm Daley thing, my positivity before you interrupted me was, what a great season, what a great team. Almost everybody's coming back. You get the Memorial Cup next year. There was some attendance talk I was running hot on Twitter.
I know you
this
were.
week.
Yeah,
People twisting what I said and saying, he said attendance got better throughout the playoffs, as I encouraged it to.
No, you were just
I wasn't taking shots at anyone. I was saying we can and should, the city of Kamloops, do better.
Yeah.
I was saying go support your team, not their organization or anybody.
You were giving them free advertising to go to the game, and you were right.
Again.
Yep. They went from 4,000 the game before, or 2 games before when I was there, or when I went to the Vancouver Giants game. 4,000 to standing room only last night.
And my point was, you can throw all of I acknowledge them, ticket prices, time of year, people can stay, I acknowledge all that. You can throw it out the window. We can do better this time of the year.
They did last night.
And we did, so congratulations to all the Kamloopsians who got off their wallets and supported the team, just like I knew they could.
Yeah.
Norm Daley knew they could too. He also knew that Kamloops could get the Memorial Cup, and he joins us right now on Last Week This Week. We're here with the bid wizard, Norm Daley. Let's start there. Memorial Cup. Actually, you said something neat to me when we talked the other night about Donnie Moores. So let's start there. How much do you think Donnie Moores would be loving Friday night and getting the cup here?
Oh, he would have just been over the moon with that. I mean, that was one of the things we talked about every week or every day since we lost the last one. How when this time it came around, we were going to bid on it again, and the plans that we had and how we were going to make things move forward. So yeah, he would have been overjoyed.
What do you think this does for the city?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, you start with the economic benefit. They're talking about $12 to $15 million. And on top of that, you're on national television for 12 days. I mean, you can't buy that type of exposure for our community. It's just unbelievable what you get with that. I mean, this on top of the Scotties in February. I mean, I think Kamloops is going to be the place to visit probably again next summer.
West Coast League Baseball.
Yes.
You're the co-owner of the NorthPaws.
Yeah.
West Coast League is a really top-flight collegiate league for college players playing summer. The last MLB draft in 21, there was 41 players taken by the MLB, including a first-rounder, 17th overall, and 3 second-rounders, and a number going all the way down. I've heard it say that the NorthPaws, or a team in the West Coast League, could not only compete with, but could defeat possibly the Vancouver Canadians of the single A. They would be on par. So I'm just trying to let the people know this is really high caliber baseball, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely it is. I mean, it's amazing the talent of these athletes that are coming here. We've got a lot of NCAA Division I kids, and we've got a lot of Canadian kids. The reason the Canadian kids is because our coach has been working with the U21 program with Baseball Canada. So he's got all these contacts across the country. He's seeing the best Canadian prospects, and so we're having an opportunity to to bring them here. And so, yeah, no, a few weeks ago we went down to a game where UBC played the Canadians. It was an exhibition game, and UBC came out on top. And so, I'd say UBC has got a very strong team. Obviously we're a team of all-stars.
Yes.
And so I think that we would do all right against UBC. So yeah, I would say definitely we would reach that caliber.
I felt sympathy for you and the ownership group. Well, first of all, you go through COVID, and you have to wait a year extra, and then you get pitted up against the Blazers for that first game. And all I was doing on Twitter was trying to say, I feel bad for the ownership group because the table is no longer individually yours, and then you get rained out. So how much of a journey has this been for you, and how much are you looking forward to tonight, God willing?
Well, I mean, it's been quite a journey. We've been talking about this for the last few months about how sick we're talking about. Tired of talking about the game coming up and things like that, because we've been talking about it for 2 years.
Yes.
And I mean, what's interesting is there's things you can't control, and I mean, it was fairly obvious that the weather could play a role in yesterday, and I mean, you just get to the point where, well, whatever happens, happens. The beautiful thing is that the city did a fantastic job of getting the field ready after the afternoon rainstorm. So all hands were on deck and getting things ready, and then unfortunately it rained again. And so that didn't quite seem like it was going to happen. We're looking at the radar and talking to people, and where things could play out. But at the end of the day, we had hundreds of people show up for the game. People wanted to do it. People wanted to see it. And at the end of the day, we learned a lot last night, which is going to make us a better team moving forward. So, cup half full, cup half empty. I like to go with it's half full.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I was just saying you might want to talk to Byron McCorkle and get him to move that planned dome for Trude over Norbrook, and they can play in the rain. But today is June 1st, and it's the first day of meteorological summer. That's how the forecasters do it: June, July, August. So I think we're in. It's a good omen, and it's going to be a good night tonight.
Final thoughts, Norm?
Just get out and come and enjoy some baseball. I mean, we've done a heck of a job. People were very pleased with how the park's set up. We've done a lot of things aesthetically. We've done a lot of things to have a good food experience and a good entertainment experience.
5:30 p.m. last night was supposed to be the Seeger tribute band. I think you're trying to do live stuff almost every game type deal before the game. People can come up, even if they don't want to go to the game, they can come check out the.
Out front of the stadium.
Yeah,
front of the stadium, and you don't have to have a ticket until you pass the stairs upstairs. And Shattered Adams tonight.
Shattered Adams. Okay. Go check them out and check the NorthPaws out tonight at Norbrook Stadium. Thanks, Norm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thoughts on Norm Daley or Engineer Greg's performance or anything else on the show?
I think Greg was flawless. It was a good job by Greg.
There's room for improvement, but good start.
And Norm's great. He kind of ties this community together in a lot of ways. I mean, a lot of people might not know, but many things you see in town, it has his fingerprints on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not going to be the mayor, though? We don't think
He's
so.
not going to be
anyway.
mayor. He said he's not going to run for mayor, even though he'd be pretty popular candidate for sure.
Never say never. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any final thoughts, Herman? It's remember the strawberries. Remember the strawberries. Mid-June. I was there this morning at New Leaf Produce Market, and they said mid-June is when they start to arrive from Newfeld Farms.
Good strawberries. Best strawberries in the world from Abbotsford. Raspberries, too.
Next week, we have co-title sponsors now. So Gord takes center stage. Steve Gordon here. Gord Stevens takes center stage next week, and we have their commercial, too. They're out on Tranquille, closer to your place. Actually, both these businesses are out there on the North Shore.
Yep, they are. Yep.
Okay, we've been live. We've also been on tape for Chris Foulds, for Engineer Greg, for Bill, for Magic Mike. I'm Marty. We'll see you last week.